The Olympic Games are over, and the Diamond League season is about to wrap up completely. So if you've been paying any attention at all to the sprinting events, then you should know that Letsile Teboho is legit. After winning the 200-meter gold medal at the Games, he's been running on the Diamond League circuit, and every time he does, he has won that race. And he did it again in Rome, winning the 100-meter dash against an incredibly talented field. But if you were paying very close attention, you should have noticed the man in second was Christian Coleman. And if you're wondering why that even matters, it's because you've got to know the men who finished behind him in that race. One of which was Fred Kerley himself, the Olympic bronze medalist in the 100-meter dash. Not to mention Lamont Marcel Jacobs, who was the Olympic gold medalist back in 2021, but still made the final again in 2024. The problem with this picture is that Christian Coleman wasn't in that final. In fact, he didn't even run the 100-meter dash at the Olympics at all. He has never run an Olympic event, individually, to this moment. And that fact right there is ridiculous, because Christian Coleman isn't just another fast man. He is the world's fastest man, at least on the clock, since Usain Bolt last retired in 2017. He ran 9.76 seconds to pull that off. And you can't even argue that he doesn't show up during the big meets, because he is still a world champion in the 100-meter dash. That happened in 2019. So how does a man who is that fast and able to pull it off in the races that actually count not end up sprinting in the Olympics at any point in his career? He's been doing this for a while. So let's have a very real conversation about Christian Coleman of America, the fastest man in the world that everybody forgot about. In fact, he's probably the greatest Olympian who's never actually been one. Because whether or not we want to acknowledge it, Christian Coleman is all the proof that you'll ever need that in the sport of track and field, if it didn't happen at the Olympics, in the eyes of a casual track fan, it's almost like it never happened. And because we know that the next Olympics will be in 2028, more than a decade into Christian Coleman's professional career, there is no guarantee that we'll ever get to see him on that stage. And as much as I don't want to admit it, it really doesn't matter anymore. Anything he accomplishes between now and then. Because when you have as much talent as he does, the only race that you actually gotta run in is the Olympic final in the 100-meter dash. Before I go any further, I need to make this clear that I am a Christian Coleman fan. I've been on that bandwagon from the time that he left college. However, I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as possible. I said I'm gonna try, because as far as I'm concerned, he was supposed to be the next great American sprinter on the world stage. In fact, that's exactly what he was at the beginning of his career. The truth is that the rise of Christian Coleman really dates back to his final season competing at the college level. That was back in 2017, while he was a junior. While running for the University of Tennessee, he ran what I consider to be the perfect college season for any short sprinter. And even if you don't think it's perfect, it still has to go down as the best. He swept the 60 and the 200 indoors at the NCAA championship meet, and then did the same thing again, winning the 100 and the 200 outdoors. But that is only telling half the story, because he broke the collegiate record in the 60-meter dash and the 100-meter dash, and still holds those records right now. And everything I just said is not the highlight of his 2017 season. Instead, that would have to be winning the silver medal at the World Championship meet in the 100-meter dash later that year. A race where he goes down as one of the few men in the world to ever beat Usain Bolt in a 100-meter dash. In 2018, immediately thereafter, he won the world indoor title in the 60-meter dash. Keep in mind, that is a season where there was no World Outdoor Championship. And in 2019, he showed up to win that event in the 100-meter dash. And like I tried to tell you before, he didn't just beat Bolt in 2017. Between then and now, specifically the times he was recording before 2020, was the fastest thing we had ever seen since Bolt, and still is the fastest, even though that might change going forward. And I conveniently left out that in 2018, where there was no World Outdoor Championship, Christian Coleman simply went out to win the Diamond League Championship in the 100-meter dash, because why not? But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCArecruiting.com, where I rank the best track and field recruits across the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. If I'm going to be 100% honest with you, Christian Coleman's career can really be broken up into two halves. Everything that happened up until 2020, and everything that happened after it. Because at that moment, he actually got suspended for whereabout violations. I don't feel like getting into the details, but what matters is, he wasn't on the track for 2 years. And that's likely the only reason we didn't see him compete at the 2021 Olympics. Because let's be honest, there were not 3 American men who could beat him in a 100-meter dash back then. And if I'm going to be really honest, Christian Coleman is the greatest indoor 60-meter dash runner that we have ever seen in world history. He has the world record to prove it, and the championships to prove it. The reason why he doesn't get much credit for it is because most people don't pay attention to indoors. But that's another conversation for another day. When he got back on the track outdoors in 2022, he had to buy into the World Championships because he was technically the reigning world champion still from 2019. He made it into the final at that World Championship meet, along with 3 other American men. But he was the only one who didn't leave that championship with a medal. He made it back to the world final in 2023, but still didn't get a medal in that event. But you can't even say that he was slow that season, because he ran the fastest time in the world that year, at least tied for it, going 9.83 seconds. And he did that in the Diamond League final, which made him the Diamond League champion in the 100-meter dash. So by now you should get the picture that Christian Coleman isn't just legit. He is one of the world's fastest men. He has proven it year in and year out as he's been a professional. So entering 2024, real track fans knew that Christian Coleman was supposed to be on the Olympic team in the 100-meter dash. But unfortunately for him, he is American, and qualifying out of the Olympic trials is even harder than making an Olympic final itself. And as a result, somebody always has to miss out on making the team. And in this case, Christian Coleman was that man. Because of his 60-meter dash speed, he's always way out in front by the middle of the race. The only question is, can you catch him, and will you have enough real estate to do it? Almost nobody in the world can really pull that off. It's why he makes World Championship finals anytime he's lining up to get there. But the few men who might be able to do it happen to be American, and he barely missed the last Olympic qualifying spot in the 100-meter dash. Yet he still came back to run the 200, where he reminded the world that he is one of the fastest men, not just in the 100, but also in that event. He ran 19.8 seconds in the 200-meter dash final at the trials. That is the type of time that used to be a lock to get you a medal at any world-level championship event. But once again, the fact that he is American is the reason why nobody cares to acknowledge it. Because the men who went 2, 3, and 4 during this Olympics were all the men in front of him in that race. I am aware that Christian Coleman was still on the Olympic team. They sent him there to run the 4x1, and I can't think of anybody else who I would rather have running my leadoff leg if I want to break a world record in that event. And apparently he ran fast enough in the final event to give them a chance to pull it off, because his leadoff leg was timed at the fastest ever, unofficially, that has been run in the Olympics. But to keep it a buck with you, a lot went wrong before his foot even hit the tape for him to complete the exchange. And you probably already saw what happened. So yeah, nobody's gonna give him credit for that leadoff leg at this moment. And now, the only thing left for him to compete for is the Diamond League title in the 100-meter dash. Something that he's done multiple times already. The Christian Coleman situation is everything that's wrong with track and field. There is a reason why track and field is arguably the most popular Olympic sport, because I think Olympic sports fit into 3 categories. One group are sports that have professional equivalents, like basketball, where even the athletes who are playing don't take the Olympics as seriously as what they do professionally anyway. And the other group are sports that really only exist at the Olympics. So much so that nobody even pays attention to them, even when the Olympics are happening. No offense, just being honest. The Olympic sports that people like to watch the most, like track and field, are actual professional sports where you have to be committed to it and compete internationally at a very high level every single year leading up to the games. The only problem is, nobody's going to be watching, at least the casual sports fans, until the games themselves. And in the case of Christian Coleman, he has basically accomplished everything that any sprinter could ever hope to do, outside of doing things that can only happen at the Olympics. He's won Diamond League championships, won the title as the fastest man in the world for that year multiple times, won world indoor titles, won world outdoor titles, and even broken a world record. And nobody notices because it didn't happen at the Olympics. I have no idea what's about to happen in Christian Coleman's career. He changed his coach after the Olympic trials, and now he's training with Dennis Mitchell, the same man who coaches Kenny Bednarik, as well as Sha'Carri Richardson. Both of them have Olympic medals, and they are coached by a man who has one himself, which kind of explains why Christian Coleman switched over to that training group to begin with. That might be the missing ingredient. I'm just not sure that it is, because the facts are still the facts. That Christian Coleman is one of the world's greatest sprinters. He has been that ever since he's been a professional, whether you're focusing on the first half or the second half. All roads lead back to the same place, Los Angeles in 2028, where the next Olympic Games are going to be held. Because Christian Coleman is clearly an Olympic caliber athlete, even if he's never actually run individually at that level. In fact, he's probably the greatest Olympian who never was. I just hope for his sake that the story doesn't end there. The sport of track and field is not just about running fast. It is about doing it over and over and over again, because whenever you step to the line, your reputation is on the line as well. With the Wake Up, Run Fast, and Repeat shirt, you can make it clear that running faster than the competition is a habit. Get yours at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.